Developers, 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 developers.
9.
I think everybody in the world now can feel.
8.
Feel the power of these large multinational corporations. Many of these companies are much more powerful than even governments.
Developers, 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 developers.
7.
The first world,
6.
we are 20% of the people of the world. And yet we are consuming 80% of the world's resources. This level of consumption is simply not sustainable. If we continue to consume at this current rate, then eventually I think we're going to hit the wall.
5.
If we are so stupid that we don't listen
4.
to the early warning signals that the planet is sending us.
3.
But it's going to be a terrible time in history that may take hundreds of years before the planet heals again.
2.
Developers, 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 developers. Yes.
There'll be a global economic collapse.
1.
There'll be a global economic collapse.
0. Ignition. Liftoff. Liftoff. 30 minutes after the hour.
Cannot let the terrorists achieve the objective of frightening our nation to the point where people don't shop. Where people don't shop.
The will to consume terrorizes you. We're terrorized into being consumers. We have the freedom to choose between brand A and brand B and brand C. That's about it for freedom.
We cannot let the terrorists achieve the objective of frightening our nation to the point where we don't conduct business. Where people don't shop.
Yeah, I think there's too much stuff to constantly work and constantly consume. It's madness. It's destroying everything, and it just has to go. I see very little that's worth preserving. I see no value or health in maintaining the system. And to get all these things, it is a matter of coercion after all. People are forced to be in the mines and on the assembly lines. And without that, without these things, you don't have all this stuff. You don't have a world of things that we're supposed to strive after all of our lives. I don't think there's anyone who seriously embraces it, but the inertia carries it forward. It has to be stopped. It has to be destroyed.
You know that I think that young people today don't have any future. I think everybody in the world now can feel, can feel the power of these large multinational corporations who are really starting to rule the world. These large multinational corporations spending $400 billion a year trying to sell us fast food and trying to sell us cars, then of course that has a huge, huge impact on us. The 30-second television spot is, I think, the most powerful piece of communication that human beings have ever come up with. You are sitting there in your chair, passive, nothing to say, and outside there's some smart people who are producing fantastic television shows and commercials. And they are the powerful producers of information and producers of meaning. And you are the passive consumer of that meaning. And that meaning isn't even good meaning. It's mostly propaganda for the consumer culture. And then you think that happiness means to buy more and more, and at Christmas time especially, let's go out into the malls, let's go out into the malls, let's go out into the malls and really, really buy stuff, you know.
I once threw an invitation letter of a friend in Europe. The first time I went to the supermarket, I couldn't close my mouth. I was like, oh, everything was really shock, you know. And there is so much of everything. Apple, perfume, nice shampoo, trainers. It was the reality. I'm telling you the truth. I enjoy a good life. I really did. Imagine that in England I never ate beans. I didn't want to eat beans. I said, I don't want to eat beans. I want to eat something else. But the first thing I did the next day was to go to McDonald's. I wanted to see McDonald's. I wanted to, ay, Dios mío. McDonald's, Super Mac, Big Mac. I'm watching TV, watching channel, I'm eating. I cannot do 180 pounds, 180 pounds. It's so much food, eating and then again and again. I was always hungry. So, you know, like, my body was asking me for more. Eating and watching television channels. Music at prom. Eating and watching television channels. Eating and eating. Madonna, Burger King.
¿Qué clase de basura?
Quite a few people, they certainly understand that emptiness and the severe limits on fulfillment and freedom. Otherwise, they wouldn't do it. Otherwise, people would, well, I'm just going to get a good job. I'll be happy. Well, who's happy?
Ladies and gentlemen, Steve Ballmer! Come on! Get on! Come on! Come on! Give it up for me! I have 4 words for you. Love this company. Yeah!
Let's take it one more time.
I love this company. Yes!
calling for a new ethic. Developed nations have a duty not only to share our wealth, but also to encourage sources that produce wealth.
In this new world, the people will get back their own culture again. In this new world, we will have a new set of values. There will be a big paradigm shift, a big global mind shift, where people will suddenly say, I don't want a fancy car. Where people will suddenly say, I don't want another Big Mac. Where people will suddenly say, I don't want to wear any diesel jeans. Where people will suddenly say, I want to have a simple, fulfilling life. Where people will suddenly say, I want to have a simple, fulfilling life.
I want something else.
A simple, fulfilling life.
Yeah!